A candidate prediction site is now showing that Bernie Sanders is going to take the nomination in a landslide. So now this site is called PredictIt. Now it values candidates as stocks, so it's kind of a weird thing, right? So you're going to see it not measured in points, but you're going to see it measured in cents. Okay. So now this site showed Senator Bernie Sanders winning the Democratic nomination by a very large margin. So how it works is PredictIt has value data, or I'm sorry, has data on the value of each candidate and how it increases or decreases over a period of time. So it's kind of like their own little stock market, right? The value of each candidate rises as the market moves in their direction. And what makes the market move is, of course, debate performances and polling metrics. So now, as of Thursday, PredictIt showed that Sanders was now priced at 53 cents. That's actually supposed to be a good thing, which is 35 cents over New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg, who is valued at second with 18 cents. Now, remember, in real life, Bloomberg is actually worth over $60 billion. So it is kind of funny to see him worth, in this context, 18 cents. Super funny, right? Now, following the debate, Sanders' stock value went up from 42 to 53 cents, while other candidates have stagnated or have fallen to under 20 cents. In a 90-day period, it's pointed out that Sanders has been in a steady rise since November of 2019, overtaking Joe Biden in late January of 2020, and then skyrocketing afterwards. So now, background information here. We'll talk about PredictIt, right? Now, PredictIt is a research project at Victoria University of Wellington, which is a not-for-profit university. Now, Brandy Travis, the spokesperson for PredictIt, explained the accuracy of the model for the Democratic nomination. They said, our traders' knowledge and attention to every detail and their ability to digest even the most seemingly innocuous publicly available information about the political news they're invested in are one of the significant strengths of PredictIt. Because of that, when you watch their markets, you will see that our traders can pick up on trends earlier and in a more quantifiable way than other sources of information from polling to pundits. And when it comes to outcomes, our model is approximately 85% accurate in predicting what will happen in political events. So, from what I can understand, is that the people that are participating in PredictIt are basically betting on candidates, right? Based on what they see. And right now, you have more people that are betting on Bernie Sanders based on polls, based on his debate performances, and other metrics. And so understand that these are a bunch of people around betting who's going to win. Again, a lot like the stock market, right? So that shows that there are people out there that generally believe that Bernie Sanders is going to be the nominee. I'm one of those people, but I don't have access to PredictIt. So I actually can't make my vote or bet or whatever, right? Nonetheless, these trends, again, have shown that Bernie Sanders is now the front runner. And that also helps, by the way. When you achieve front runner status, immediately everybody thinks, oh, this guy's going to win, or has a very, very good chance of winning. So now, according to 538, some of the polls that they're based on, Sanders has a double-digit lead to his competition in the Democratic primary field, polling at Tuesday at about 26.8%. Biden has 15%. Elizabeth Warren and Mayor Pete come in at third and fourth at 11%. Now, Nevada caucuses are next, so we'll see what happens. But PredictIt says Sanders has going to continue by winning Nevada. So this is interesting. If anything, I don't necessarily put a lot of stock in political predictions because basically that entire thing got ruined back in 2016 when you had a lot of predictions that Hillary Clinton was going to win, right? But again, don't take big stock in this because there's a ton of factors. And I think the real usage of these prediction models is to actually more influence public opinion. I think that's the biggest takeaway that you can get from a lot of these prediction sites, because you never know what's going to happen. But you can say, hey, look, there's a lot of people that think that Bernie Sanders is going to win, that he's electable, and that adds to the idea of people thinking, okay, well, this person actually is electable. Well, that's wonderful. So, nonetheless, that's no substitute for knocking on doors, making calls, text banking, or any of that really important stuff. Far more important than sitting back and thinking, and far better for the campaign than sitting back and thinking, don't worry, we got this. Because again, that was Hillary Clinton's biggest fault, is that she basically sat back and said, don't worry, I got this. Nobody's ever going to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Oops. So there was a lot of hubris in that campaign, and we would be wise to not repeat that mistake when it comes to Bernie Sanders, especially when he's doing so well. And this is positive news. But I want to go back to something that Kyle Kulinski said. So he's the host of Secular Talk. It's an amazing show. If you haven't already, subscribe to that. What he said is we need to act like we are 10 points behind. So even though polls come out and say Bernie Sanders has got a double digit, he's got a commanding lead, we should be approaching this as if we are losing. And that means, working hard, continuing to work hard to try to elevate our candidate and to make sure we win by a landslide. And so, because what the danger is here, and it was revealed on debate stage on Tuesday, Wednesday. It was revealed on the debate stage in Nevada that a lot of Democrats on the stage would support the nightmare scenario that is the brokered convention, which means a candidate comes in, he's got the plurality of votes, but not enough to hit 50%. That would mean that in the second round, the superdelegates could come in and steal the nomination from Bernie Sanders. And so that is the nightmare scenario, and that certainly could happen. So in order to make it not happen, you have to make sure that the vote comes out in such overwhelming numbers that it's impossible to screw Bernie Sanders out of the nomination. There has to be absolutely no question. None. So never get relaxed, never get complacent, and remember to never really fully trust predictions or polls, especially when there is so much riding on the nomination of Bernie Sanders. Okay. Ravaging Wolverine, by the way, makes a great point here and says, I said at the beginning before the stream, landslides only become reality if people turn out to vote in large numbers. Make it happen. That's been my message all along. Turn out, make sure you turn out, overwhelming numbers. That is the only way that we're ever going to win this. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.